Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Cristina Grey. Cristina is a marketing strategist and performance coach at Cristina Grey with 20 plus years of corporate experience. She stopped caring what other people thought and set a standard for her life. She believes we should all take risks and give it everything we've got every single day with the absolute belief that everything we want is meant for us. Cristina has been through her own journey and struggles. She has learned lessons around divorce and having to support herself since she was 14 years old. She now has a successful career, a thriving business, and created a beautiful, soul-filled life. She now wants you to step into your power and set a new standard for how we define and experience success. Welcome, Cristina. How are you?
Hi, Sabrina. I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me on your fabulous show. So excited for our conversation today. How are you, my love?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to sit back, relax, share some of your journey, your story, and where you're at now, all the wonderful things that you're doing now in your life. So, go ahead.
Yeah, everything is amazing. It's definitely setting a new standard for me. It's definitely creating a vortex. I'm feeling good. I'm seeing changes on a deep level. It's the constant transformation, the constant stepping into our own power. The more we evolve, it's a new level, and a new level. So everything is going, it's deep, it's fast, it's beautiful.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, I love to start with the same question with all my guests because I think that it's a powerful question. So the first question I want to ask you is just, what is one of the biggest challenges you've had in your life? And what did you learn from that challenge?
Oh, that is a great question, Sabrina. I love this. I was expecting this, to be fair. One of the biggest challenges was having set rules imposed on me. You're too this, you're too tall, you can't wear your hair, you're too outspoken, you're too daring, you're too rebellious, you have a colorful language. So having people trying to put me into a box, fit me into a standard, simplify, and really clear out all that intrinsic level of sophistication that ultimately we all have within us, right? Because we're not just women, we're not just business or career women or mothers, or we don't have a label or daughters or whatever. We're much more than that. So when I see people, and this has been one of my biggest challenges, I am a strong advocate. Remember, we had a conversation and we resonated so deeply on this level. When we're having people trying to confine us, I go a little bit bananas. So totally not agree with this. I don't think it's fair. Is what I stand against. It's what I do in every single aspect of my life, not just my business, my personal life, my family, my friends, everybody.
When did you start to recognize that this was happening? Were you self-aware enough when you were younger, seeing this happening, or did you become aware of it as you got older?
Oh, this is a good one. And you're going to laugh because I actually have a very funny story. Very deep, but very funny. So I'm kind of tall. I'm 5'8". So I noticed that I didn't quite fit into a box in first grade because my legs couldn't fit under the desk. So I had to stand on the side. And then on the first day, literally my teacher was like, you need to fit, literally. That was like light bulb. I don't fit under the desk. My legs are too long. I'm too tall. So that was the first moment when I realized not everybody is the same, and that is okay. You
Wow.
can't fit everybody into a certain box. And that was just a funny story.
I
Apart from
love
that,
it.
there's tons of
What was the solution? Would they give you different desks, or did you have to sit sideways the whole time?
they actually kind of cut the chair and they made it shorter. So then I kind of looked like a hobbit, which was very funny. So I did that for a full semester. That was interesting. That was very, very interesting. And then eventually they put me in the last like row because I was the tallest one and I could see further ahead. Have they know that I'm actually wearing glasses? So I couldn't actually see much, but hey, yeah, that was amazing.
That is
Yeah.
so funny. What about as you got older? What were some things where people were trying to fit you into boxes but weren't able to?
Well, starting with my marriage, starting with when I went to law school. Actually, I was flunked in law school because one of my, for some reason, it always happens for the first time. My teacher actually thought I cheated. I'm very good with details. I pay attention. I have a very good memory, and so my answers were pretty good. It was like, there is no way that you would know, you would have this level of expertise, you will have this level of understanding. There's not, nobody does this. So I actually challenged this. And this is where my setting a new standard and stepping into your power actually comes from. Because I had to learn at a very, very young age that, hey, I don't fit in, even if I want to. So, like, I need to create my own standard in order for me to be able to exist, to feel free, to be self expressed, to fully live my potential. So, that is like, to me, it's ingrained on all level: physical, mental, emotional, soul level, on like DNA cellular level.
Were you able to figure that out with the test?
Absolutely. I contested the grades. I challenged the judge. She was a judge. I was shaking like a butterfly. And I said, listen, this is my right. I've actually studied my ass off for this. You can, like, I'm going to pass the test right now. Ask me anything you want. And I actually kind of did the test, was like, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this, tell me this. Really, really quickly, kind of like an ad hoc exam. I've answered all his questions. And it was like, yeah, okay.
Wow.
That was his like, but to me back then it was like, oh my God, gold stars, gold stars. I did it. I finally, when in fact, I wasn't actually supposed to do that. Just because somebody believed that, yeah, everybody fits into a certain box, everybody's at a certain level. So I had to show him, like, that is not me.
Yeah.
People will always be different.
Yeah. Definitely. What
But
happened
it
in your
felt
marriage?
good to prove him wrong. Just for him, because that person was somebody that was in his 60s with a lot of experience, a lot of ego. It was nice to see my 19-year-old ass telling him, right, actually, honey, don't judge a book by its covers.
100%. I want to talk about your marriage for a second because I think that this is something that a lot of women deal with, as far as, especially now, I think more than ever, having to fit inside this box, along with the feeling expected to also many times have a full time job. I don't necessarily, you know your background with that, but where were you expected to fit into a box with your marriage?
Oh, that was another very interesting story. So I kind of married, not a kind of, I did marry my high school sweetheart. And it's one thing when you're in high school and it's all like rainbows and butterflies kind of situations. There's no adult responsibilities. And we eventually got married when I was 22. So we kind of grew up together. To realize then, I went to law school. I did a financial university before I went to law school. So I kind of did a lot. And he was very possessive, very dominant. He became a prosecutor eventually. But because of my innate desire to follow a certain path, to go to a certain university, to also do work, to also do my financial university. So I was pretty busy. This is who I am. This is how I operate.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of, you're not at home. Who are you trying to prove wrong? You'll never be enough. You're just a woman. You're my wife. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Like, why are you doing all of this? And it felt really, really heavy on my soul.
Wow.
Because in my mind, I was just curious. That is the energy that I bring to the table. I'm curious. I love to learn. Even now, I'm learning. I'll probably learn for the rest of my life. But to have somebody that you cared, like the genuine relationship when you're a teenager, it's completely different from when you become an adult and you move in with somebody and you have responsibilities, and have that person that you share history together saying this very bluntly in your face. Who are you trying to prove, honey? Really? You married a prosecutor, like, so? Are you trying, like, what? So, okay, cool, you're going to financial school. And then, and having said that, whilst I was 49 kilograms.
Wow.
And now I'm 5'8.5". I was skin and bone.
Yeah.
But I loved what I was doing. And I also knew that, like, this is how you create a life, not sitting on your ass on your couch and like, I'm a wife. I'm just, so it was more, and not just that, like, I want to touch a little bit on the emotional impact, because being in the circle where I was and with my other like relatives, mom, dads, uncles, everybody that was, I had to experience a lot of events where I need to be very proper, very dolled up, and everything is good. Like, we're newlyweds, everything is like good and fine, when instead it really wasn't. And it felt in my mind, in my soul, like, what the fuck am I doing with this person? Where is this leading to? Is this who I am? Is this how I want to live my life? Is this good for me? Is this good for him? And I had to process this for a minute. And by a minute, I mean 3 years. Because I was young and dumb, and I'm very traditionalist. I believe in like the sanctity of marriage and having one partner. And I'm not really this crazy person. I have a colorful language, but not really a crazy person. And so I had to realize, I had to analyze, and I knew I don't really have that level of maturity. What will happen if I make a powerful decision right now? What happens if I stand up for myself and say no? And the thing was that for me, unfortunately, it wasn't just getting divorced. It was me standing against a whole bunch of people and living in a city.
Yeah.
Everybody knew my name.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of consequences. Until eventually I woke up one morning and I said, you know what? I don't want to be married anymore.
Wow.
And I left with a bag. And then I had to face my mom. Oh my God, you're getting divorced. Oh my God, what are people going to say? What will you do? Oh my God. Like the mom drama,
Yeah.
protecting her kid. And I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, it's cool. I got this. I got this. I got my own back. I trust my own process.
Yeah.
And in less than 2 weeks, everything was aligned. I moved to a different city. I got a new job out of nowhere. I literally have a tattoo. Like, I don't know how I've manifested this. I have a tattoo with the date to remind me that every time I will have the courage to speak my truth, to set my own standards, to live the life that I know I'm meant to live on my terms, everything that is aligned will come into place. And sometimes those things that it's not easy to let go, because our brain thinks safety, even though that safety sucks and hurts, but it's familiar. It's very hard to choose the unknown, because we never know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
And I
I
got this
definitely agree.
tattoo on purpose on my left hand to go with the aorta to my heart. I'm very melodramatic. But to remind me that every time I will have the courage to set my own standard, everything will come into place. And everything that needs to be cleared out that feels heavy, that's just not meant for me.
Absolutely. When did you kind of stumble into personal development? How old were you?
Oh, 7. So
Wow.
my dad, yeah. So my dad was passionate about psychology, paranormal, astrology, chakras, energy, and we had a massive library. So I started reading very young, and then I got obsessed with the Egyptians and past lives and Akashic records. So I had tons and tons of conversations with my dad around anything self-development.
Wow.
And then I continued as an adult. So it's been, I think it's fair to say that it's been a lifelong journey at this point.
That's awesome. How did you end up on your own at 14?
Well, my parents got divorced. All of the sudden, I still don't know what happened with that situation. So, in my mind, I was completely clueless. I was like, cool, perfect family, everything is going smooth. Came from home, came from school to a letter, basically, which I found in the post office. Like, hey guys, like, this is it, or like, whatever, mailbox. To then have my mom open the letter, getting the divorce, da 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 da. Da. Still to the day, don't know what happened there. I just dealt with my own luggage, dealt with my process, my own feelings. I'm not taking anybody's karma, but I was left alone. This event happened right before I had to take the exam to go into high school, because in Romania you have to take an exam, actually 5 exams to be able to go into high school. And so they were so busy arguing and splitting the assets and deciding whatever they had to decide.
Yeah.
And after a short while, my mom moved out. My brother was in boarding school, and my dad used to travel a lot. So I was left alone, well, with my cat, which was very sweet. But I was left alone. And nobody, oh my God, if I'm going to cry, I'm going to die at this point. So nobody to ask me, where you going? Are you going to school? Are you eating? Are you like, what's going on, kid? Because like you're 14, you're a young lady.
Mm-hmm.
So I had none of that. I had to figure out very soon, like, either I learn how to have my own back and make stuff happen for me, because these people are all living their lives. So, and that's where my level of empathy comes from, and my level of sensitivity. It's a small PTSD, as I like to call it. When people don't really pay attention to you and you kind of connect and become very attentive as a kid, like, okay, what's going on? And that translates as an adult in having the ability when entering a room to read very quickly people, to assess and like know how you position yourself. And so when they left me alone, I cried for like 2 months, and then I realized, like, what will I do to make money? Because nobody's gonna give me money. And so I went into business.
Wow.
And my first business was doing homework for my colleagues because I had no idea what else to do. I'm so happy I was smart back then. Well, still am, but like I figured out a solution. And then I got a part-time job in a company when I was 16 and started selling insurance, and it kind of went from there.
I just heard that there's a company right now that is out that does homework. It's actually a real company. Yeah.
That's not fair to kids.
For high school and college.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do they
And
learn then?
I
Random question, but seriously.
I don't know how the whole thing works, but yeah, you just submit and you pay and they do it for you. It's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know what it's
kind of.
called, but it's controversial for obvious reasons. You know,
Yeah.
like
So
we have lawyers and doctors, like going to school. Like, where's the line?
So
But
what, do they take the bar exam as well?
I don't. Well, it's homework.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah,
if
but
it's
they still have to take the bar exam.
yeah.
Oh, thank God for the bar exam.
So yeah, I don't know how the whole thing works. I heard it on a radio station at some point, and I was like, what? And then I looked it up, and yeah, it's a real thing. They were like interviewing the woman who created it, a girl with your same story. She's like, I used to do it. I started doing it in high school for friends, and it actually became like a real business. And then she just like opened up a website, hired people, and then now it's like an actual like big company does it. I mean, it's probably not that
Crazy.
big, but it's got, like it's I mean, it sounded as if she had like at least 20 or 30 homeworkers,
Oh,
kind
so
of
what do
cool.
you do for a work for a living? I do homework.
I do homework. Yeah. 100%. Hey, I want to
Crazy.
ask you a question regarding you linking empathy with PTSD, because I've
Mm,
actually been thinking that also. And you're the first person that's actually, not that you're the only other person on the panel on this thing that has thought that before, but the only person that has said it out loud, that they're linked. Can you tell us a little more about that?
yeah, well, post-traumatic stress disorder, right? It's something that stays with you and stays with you on a core level. And so, especially if this happened when we were very young, not necessarily, but most of times. Um, and more precisely, if we have a deep emotional reaction whilst a certain event happens, that creates a PTSD, like we're left with it. And so if this is happening before, like in the pre-puberty, childish pre-puberty time frame, you develop empathy, as in you learn your brain, because we don't really have that filtering out, um, cognitive processes are not yet fully developed, and we also don't have the hormones. We learn very quickly to adapt to it's a natural reaction. You know how babies kind of cry when they're hungry and like they giggle when they're happy, so they can't really express. It comes in form of natural instinct slash adaptation. As in, okay, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to think, I don't know how to react. So instead, I will learn very quickly to read the reactions of other people and the energies and like really know how they are. And that as an adult, when our cognitive processes fully develop and we become adults, that translates into, yeah, I can read somebody very quickly. I know exactly kind of where they're at. And not most times we don't really know, like, how are you an empath? Like, because right, you can't really pinpoint. And trust me, I've studied a lot of psychology and I've read a lot of books, and still, like, even the physiognomy or the gestures or the NLP, because some people say, like, if you're looking this, if you're doing these
Yeah.
gestures, that doesn't necessarily apply. And I do this all the time.
I remember when I first learned that with NLP, and I was so aware of like where people's eyes were. It actually
Mhm.
totally messed me up because
Yeah.
I'm like, it didn't always, it doesn't, it's not always real. It's not always the truth.
It's not. Somebody told me, because actually the setting, I have two lights over here, and normally I would look, because I have very glasses, and normally I would look in the corner when there's less light, because like the lights are popping right into my face, which means I'm shy, which I'm actually not. And somebody asked me, like, why do you keep looking there? I'm like, because that is the darkest corner of my room, and my eyes need to rest for a second. So I would look like in that corner. So I will always look for the darkest place. It's very easy to, doesn't necessarily apply. And
Yeah.
actually, they did a test with the FBI, and they came to the conclusion that about 30 to 40% of these behaviors, let's call them, actually are relevant
Wow.
and give away the reaction. Also, micro gestures as well. It's not. That's just a tiny little bit.
Yeah, definitely. What's the number one lesson you've learned about life?
Oh, that is deep, Sabrina. Okay. Great question. The number one lesson that I have learned about life, the number one lesson is that the only way to have a fulfilled life is that means for me is to live it on my terms. Even if that makes zero sense for me or for other people.
Be more specific. What does that mean?
What I mean by that is, you know, when you're meant to do something and you feel like, yeah, I'm going to do that thing. Doesn't make any logical sense, but I feel a pull towards that. Or even when I started my business, when I moved to the online environment, a lot of people told me, like, why'd you quit corporate? Because I felt like it. And I never felt so good in my life. Now I want to go to Brazil. I'm feeling like I feel a pull. Doesn't make any sort of sense, but I feel I need to go there. And I've learned this in my life because I had a series of these events, highly intuitive, connected, grounded in my soul. I think that when we have this intuitive like nudges, is literally our soul speaking to us and transcending our brain. Our brain doesn't know how to process that, right? And every time I did this, living life on my terms, yeah, I'm just gonna do what I feel I need to do, even if that makes no sense.
What would you say to individuals who have children and just, like, I can tell you just from personal experience being a single mom, 1,000 times wanting to just drop the baby off at the fire department and run away. So what's the difference?
Yeah, you know, I thought about this. I don't have kids, but I do
My
have a lot
son's
of,
my son's 18 now, by the way.
oh, still a kid,
Yeah.
Sabrina. You'll always be your baby,
Well,
right?
just, trying to put a timeline there. This isn't like this didn't just happen yesterday. This was 18 years ago.
Yeah. I remember you telling me this. I would say that you can still have your crazy periods, as in like still do you, like don't lose your identity. Have set time frames. Honey, I'm gonna take you to the park. You're gonna be in like the sandbox. And I'm just gonna be here watching TikToks or whatever. Or mom, here's the kid. Or sister or friend, honey, babysit the kid. I need to be, I don't know, I need to go out with my friends. I need to go on a holiday. There's always, I'm a strong believer in not losing your identity in within a couple, or just because we gain certain titles, right? We get a job, we have kids. You're still Sabrina. Yes, you're a mom too, but you're still Sabrina. So I think in, of course, life will change because we adapt, we care, but that doesn't mean that our essence changes. We just, the way I see it is like we add more to it, we make it more beautiful. It's kind of like a bouquet, you know, when you put like different types of flowers and it has like different fragrances. That's how I see it.
When you
Over,
left when you left corporate, did you set yourself up financially?
oh yeah, of course. I would have not been able to do all the things that I've done, so I've prepared, yes.
That's awesome. How long did you save for before you took the leap?
For me, it was a very short period of time. It was about 6 months. So I was lucky enough to be able to do this in a short period of time.
Yeah,
And the way I've kind of calculated is like, okay, I'm going to give myself 2 years. Like, I need to live for about 2 years.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's important to recognize. My story leaving my ex. There's time. when we make drastic decisions like this, as far as leaving leaving a job or leaving a spouse, there's some planning. You have to plan a little bit.
Yeah.
So, when we say we just left, it's always good to kind of put that little asterisk in there of like, I did just leave. However, I made like a plan first.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Well, not everybody,
That is a given.
not only does not everyone get that, but people could have some jealousy around, well, I can't just leave because of finances. And it's like, yes, girl, we also didn't just leave. We also had to make a plan, months or years. In my case, it was 4 years. 4 years I was 13 years in that relationship, but I took 4 years to plan because I was being financially abused. So I couldn't make money outside of the home. So I had to like secretly make little itty bitty bits of money online to leave. But you have to like set yourself up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I thought for 3 years before I left my marriage, because I needed to finish law school.
There you go.
So obviously, and I think you touched on a very sensitive topic, because I talk to people all day long, basically, and I see this all the time. We see these people that are successful and that have achieved certain things or have been able to get outside a situation that didn't necessarily feel very pleasant. But then we never see the behind the stage.
That's the whole thing.
How long did they thought about that?
Yeah.
Because you need to have a plan for anything. Even when you're making a salad or a smoothie, right? You're going to think for a second, like, what am I going to put in this bottle, in this shaker?
Yeah.
So that's where I think, as you said, there's a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of victimizing I see with some people. Oh, I can't do this because of this. Well, you can. If you think about it, I really truly believe that we all have the capacity to change our lives.
Yeah.
Yes, probably not happen like this.
Exactly.
I mean, seriously, not even Elon Musk did it.
Yeah.
So we're still humans at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, you have all you need. We have the resources. And you know exactly what you mean. Like, I know, I remember your story, and I know, because I completely resonated with that. I was still the same. I had all my money, just build a house. So I was like, okay, cool, no money. And I had no job because I had to supervise the house. And then what? So I had to think, okay, I need to like kind of slowly find a plan, work towards it, set my goal, and then go.
Yeah.
And then I started getting better and better and better at doing that. So now it's very easy for me to make a plan. Okay, cool. This is what I need to do. Boom, 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 boom. But a lot of people don't have this level of awareness. And that is what I think that, in a way, sabotages their success.
Yeah.
Because they're not prepared. This preparation, ultimately.
Yeah. But I think a lot of it is because they miss the backstory, like you were saying.
Absolutely.
So they see the story of Cristina leaving her job and excelling, but then we don't realize that there was a plan. Like, you had to sit down with like a piece of paper.
Yeah, they don't
like we had to sit down with like a piece of paper and come up with a step by like we actually did that. People don't recognize that that's something that people do because they never see it, but it's literally as juvenile and simple as sitting down with a notebook and writing out a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever plan on the steps to leave. Like you had to sit down and be like, how much money do I want? You said it, 2 years.
Yeah.
So you had a plan. You're like, how much money do I have to save out of my check every single month in order to have 2 years worth of income?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people don't see. I sometimes post on Facebook when I sit on my computer and I say, like, this is how actually success looks like, honey. Me with the bun, I'm wearing my glasses, I'm wearing my shorts. This is how success gets created. Because people don't see, and I had people that told me this in the past. People don't see the 16-hour long days. They don't see my headphones listening to music, like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I really hope this works, because I was getting my coaching certifications. I was doing classes. I was also going to university. I finished my last university in 2021. I was working 14 to 16 hours, Monday through Sunday.
Yeah.
I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted. I was emotionally drained. But then also I knew, okay, cool, I am available for 6 months of discomfort versus pushing through the same routine, same thing, and not getting there. I was available for intense discomfort for a short period of time to make it happen. I knew my why I was doing that.
Yeah. So, this came up. I host a
But little
mastermind.
secret,
Oh, go ahead.
confession.
Yeah.
If anybody would have seen me back then, I guarantee they would have not said like, yeah, this girl, yeah, she's gonna make it good. She's gonna make it big. They would have probably said like, oh my God, that person's so depressed, she's gonna throw herself out the Thames. I don't want that.
There's two things that you're talking about here that I want to dive into a little bit.
Yeah.
I host a weekly mastermind with female entrepreneurs. We sit around, we talk for an hour. I teach a 30-minute class, and then we talk about learnings, and we're growing our business together. And one of the things that's come up is how your hours of operations. So, how long are you, from morning to night, weekends? They were asking me, what is your thought process on that? And I said that mine's probably different than a lot of people's, because I'm not going for 6 figures. I'm going for 7 figures. So I'm not trying to like hover right here. I'm like going to a different level. So I'm not done. I'm not even remotely satisfied with where I'm at right now as far as my working goes. So I'm open 12 to 14. I'm open 12 to 14 hours a day available, my calendar, and every weekend. But that's just me. That's not necessarily for everybody. But I want you to talk about this as far as, I don't have this issue, which is funny. The sleeping, I sleep. So
Oh no, I sleep as well.
as soon as I hit the toilet, you think I have to go to the bathroom. As soon as I hit the pillow, I fall asleep. I've been like that my whole life. I lay my head down, and within 5 seconds, I'm sleeping. But people don't relate to me on that, because they're like, girl, I don't even know how you do that. You're an alien. So I want to talk about this, because you have this. So sleepy that you could not sleep. What does that mean? Because people have this. What does that mean?
Yeah. So back then, I had a high position in one of the biggest real estate companies in the UK. And I also had a lot of responsibilities. So I had the stress from my job, but then I also had to take time when I was not in my job to think about the business that I was building and actually build it. So at one point, my mind kept spinning and spinning and spinning. And I totally relate when you're saying, if I put my head on the pillow, I'm going to fall asleep, because that's me now, like zero problems whatsoever. But back then, I had two divergent goals that I needed to focus on, two different sectors.
Okay.
My business is very solid, very feminine, very gentle, even though it's structured. And then on the other side, business in UK, like the corporate environment, it's on the other side of the universe. Let me just say that. So I was so tired, I couldn't sleep. My mind could not rest. And it was probably the stress, probably the
So you
pressure.
would lay down? Would you lay down and just not sleep?
No, I was literally like, I had 20 Red Bulls like this. I tried everything.
So what did you do? Did you go on medication? Did you meditation? What did you do personally? Tell us.
Oh, this is gonna be so silly, but I actually started drinking more water, and I don't believe in medication.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to meditate for that section, but then the 6 months passed and I reached my goal. And then it was all worth it, because I went on a holiday for a month, so I got to relax.
I love that. I love that you're saying that. So 6 months of discomfort.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what you have to do. You have to
That's a small price.
do whatever it takes.
That is a small price in my books
Yeah.
versus living a whole life. Because people spend 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, whatever, living a life that does not fit them, that
Yeah.
makes them miserable. So I was willing to be deeply miserable for 6 months, but then be happy,
Yeah.
like intentionally, and having a very acute sense of awareness of why I'm doing this, going through the pain and actually acknowledging it and feeling it, so I know what do I need to do. The availability to be in discomfort will help you avoid any sort of failure, because once you go through that, you'll make sure that you're not going back to that.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Because it is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have
But
to
then
be
it gets
willing.
nice as well.
Yeah. Yes.
When
But
you get
in the beginning, in the transition, there is a section where you have to be willing to be uncomfortable
absolutely, absolutely, Sabrina.
in order to get to the other side.
Breakpoint, breakthrough is right after breakpoint, right?
Yeah.
And I understand, because I talk to people all day long, and as you are right now, I'm going to 7 figures, and I know what it's like.
Yeah.
And of course, you need to put in the work. It's literally one of the laws of the universe, cause and effect. Most people want to get warm, but they're not willing to put the wood in the fire.
Yeah.
No, you honey, you need to make the fire. You need to feed the fire before you get warm.
Yeah.
Because then once you go through the discomfort, another law of the universe, right? Everything changes. Nothing is permanent. So then when you go through that state of discomfort and you end up on the other side, and oh my love, you realize that you did it all on yourself, nothing can stop you. That is how you become unbreakable, because your mind, your soul, you will know that you can always do it alone, and you have your own back. That word is worth much more than that state of, yeah, but I know what's happening if I'm staying in this job, if I don't hire this person, if I don't change, if I don't go on a diet, or if I don't leave that partner. So much, but you gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in yourself, and it's not always easy. Like
Yeah.
a lot of like, okay, honey, you got this. You can do it. No, I can't do it. Yes, you can do it. It's a little bit bipolar conversation,
Yeah.
but you gotta have your own back.
Yeah. Sometimes we stay in the misery because we're comfortable in the misery. Like we know what to expect in the misery. And everything else is, we don't know. It's unexpected. We don't know what it looks like or feels like or sounds like. So it's scary, but you have to believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to believe. And I think what's so important about that is listening to podcasts like this and listening to stories like your story, where you're like, hey, listen, similar situation with my marriage, similar situation with my work. And each time scared, each time made a plan, each time scared, each time jumped. And now look at,
Yeah.
and showing examples of that with females who are actually saying it and doing it really, I think, helps individuals recognize like, hey, maybe it'll work.
It will 100% work.
Yeah.
And thank God for you, Sabrina, for like gathering all these amazing ladies together and allowing us to share our stories so that other people, because the way I see what you're doing is you're at the top of the pyramid and you're echoing and you're connecting with more people that have a similar mission as you are.
Yep.
And this is how we get together to change the world. More people need to see your message and our message. Every single lady that has been on your show,
Yeah.
people
100.
need to see this.
Yeah, 100. So this picture behind me is actually exactly what you said. So this is Freedom. Her name is Freedom. I
Lovely.
actually painted her. I painted her
Oh,
myself.
yes, you can. I love
So
the
so I
message.
want you to look at this. Look. So this right here is the peak to the
Yeah.
top of the pyramid you were saying, and then it opens.
Oh my God.
So that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh my God. Like,
Yeah. It's exactly what I'm doing, and I have it behind me during every episode, well, most episodes, unless I'm out of town, or with a client. But in order to showcase that, like unconsciously, that this has been the thought in my head the whole time. And you said it. No one's ever done that.
that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I believe, I always say we grow together. And I do this with my clients as well. It's one of the reasons why I've quit corporate, because I only work with people that do a specific type of service that help other people.
Yeah.
I don't work with business coaches. All of them, they're mindset energy healers, so they change the world. And I kind of have a similar process, and I intentionally, because they feel so aligned with me,
Yeah.
I just have the experience to give them the skills, to give them the tools that they need to go there.
Yeah.
But that is brilliant.
Thank
So
you. And
brilliant.
it matches every female. So you can't tell if she's black, brown, or white because of the
Oh,
shadowing. She has no eye color and she has no hair. So it's every woman. Isn't she beautiful?
wow.
And
That is
her name is Freedom,
gorgeous.
and she emphasizes choice. Yes, you can. So
I got
anything,
goosebumps.
anything at all, yes, you can. Anything at all, yes, you can.
Absolutely, yes, you can.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think everyone should have a painting like that.
yeah.
And you did it. Oh, the
Isn't that crazy?
energetical. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, this it actually came out of the garbage, the frame. My fiance was driving down the road on his scooter, and the painting was actually this way, and it was like of stores, like storefronts, like something you would
Hmm.
put in your kitchen.
Hmm.
And he had it in our house. I'm like, this does not match anything. And he's like, but it's just cool. Like it was being thrown away and it looks brand new and blah, blah, blah. So it was in our dining room, just like leaning against the wall for like 3 months. And then one day I'm literally just working, just doing my thing, building my business. And I'm just like, you know what? I feel like being effing creative. I've never painted before in my whole life. I've never painted anything ever for real. And I just took it outside. I painted the whole thing black, including the frame, and just started drawing just this thing that was coming out of me. And she turned out beautiful. I'm so happy.
That is, in my opinion, it's a masterpiece.
Thank
I
you.
I love it. It's
Thank you. I think
brilliant.
she's so beautiful. I
And
think
the
she's so,
roses.
and this is real, not real, but they're 3D. So it's like
Yeah, I
I
think I can
an
tell.
actual necklace. Yeah.
And like how you describe it and the metaphor fits every woman. No
Yeah.
hair color, no color, like no eyes color, no skin color from at all. That is such a powerful statement. You literally like alchemize and infuse all your energy into that.
Yeah.
That is a big talisman to have.
Yeah.
Love
And
it. I
she's
can't
and
get
she's
myself to go.
here. She's here with us every episode, so it's nice, you know.
Beautiful.
She's looking over it. She's looking after all of us.
Yes. Yes, because she can and we can.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask, what do you wish for?
Peace. I was talking to somebody earlier and we're talking about different things, but ultimately, you know how people want this and that and this and whatever at whatever level they are. And then I've said, like, ultimately, honey, we all want peace. People will say happiness, but think about it. Who wants to walk around like all day long, right? That will be absolutely ridiculous. But what we want is peace. To feel that sense of, yes, this feels good. it's a state of bliss, a state of peace. There's no struggle, there's no discomfort. It feels easy, it feels natural, it feels empowering. And I work with words basically. So I pay very close attention, like I analyze words, and peace alchemizes all these amazing feelings that makes us feel like we are experiencing a fulfilling life when we feel at peace. And like I've done that, I feel at peace. I've I am with that partner, I have that business, I'm seeing my kids turn 18, I did the painting, I feel at peace. Yes, this feels good to me. And normally people associate this with happiness, but it's not really happiness, it's peace. So that is what I wish for everyone.
I love it. I want to give a quick shout out to those that are watching live. Thank you for being here, hanging out with us. We totally appreciate that. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know where you are watching us at. We can send you some love. I want to pull a comment up here. Rochelle said, do you find yourself being more male-like in the corporate world?
Male-like. I would say that when it comes to the structure, absolutely. When it comes to what actually creates results, not at all.
Ooh.
Not at all.
Tell us more.
Here's what I mean by that. Yes, you gotta be presentable. You need to have a structure. You need to know your shit. You need to be very competent and skillful. If I went on a tangent right now talking about random things that have zero relevance, which is the feminine energy and exploring and being all that Zen flow mode, that would make no sense in the business world. So in the corporate world, you need to, like I tell my clients, go deep and go fast. Time is money, right? So that is a masculine energy. It's more male-like. But then what gets those results, if you're talking to people, business, and actually any human interaction, it's all about people. But it's how you make them feel in that interaction. It's never about us. The most successful people do two things: gain people's trust, and they can read people very fast. So it's always about the other person and how you leave them feeling. And who does that? A nurturer, a mother, a feminine energy that has the capacity to hold the space to understand, not just be male. No, we're doing this and this and this and this. Not like that. So knowing how to
Combine, yeah.
and really fuse these two energies, as in, like, yes, this is the structure, I'm going to talk about this, but I'm going to do it in my way.
Yeah.
In a way that makes people feel good, creates that win-win situation.
Yeah. Tell us more about your business.
My business, I don't actually call it my business. I don't call my clients, which is very confusing when I go live. So I only work with solid coaches and consultants. All of my clients, apart from one actually, you're very welcome, honey. All of my clients are into mindset. They're energy healers. They do trauma work. They work with the soul, just to put it like in a very simplified way. But the trouble is that even though they're so gifted, and most of them have been doing this for more than 30 years, they don't really have the capacity to have this male-like energy. How do I structure a business? How do I create? How do I talk to people? And so that's where my zone of genius comes into place. It's about knowing and having an understanding of, what does my client want? What does the person in front of me want? How can I give them what they need from me? How can I be the best person that can be in their life right now that they need? And this applies not just in business, in anything.
Yeah.
we would all do this, at least 10%, I really strongly believe that our lives will like dramatically change. And I've done this in my life because I didn't always work with amazing people, but I noticed subtle shifts, right? We want different results, do different things. So and now I'm helping other people create a bigger echo, just like you are. That's why I'm so grateful to be here. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Let's schedule this. Let's do this. Yeah.
That's great. I really appreciate you helping the first tier of coaches first, also. Instead of the coaches coaching coaches, you're like coaching the coach, which
Yeah.
like that's needed.
Yeah. And I want to tell you this because technically I'm kind of the devil, especially when it comes to social media, right? We go on social and I see a lot of, because I talk to my competitors as well. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, how do you talk to people? Do you get hate? I'm like, I never get hate. I don't. I don't get hating message, even if I spam people. I don't get hate. But then also the energy that I give, it's not, oh, I'm going to get you as my client. No, it's genuinely coming from a place of service. How can I be the best person that you need in your life right now? And what do you need from me for you to create a bigger impact, to live your soul's mission? Now, I'm going to be fair because I do have a filtering system as well. So I'm pretty good at reading people, but my hair is tickling me. But ultimately, it all comes down to human interaction and having the ability to understand what the other person needs from you.
Absolutely. Where can people find you on social media?
On my page, I also have a website. Never go there. Don't go there. Completely useless. Facebook, Cristina Grey. Just like that's my favorite color, by the way. Just like
I
the
love
name
that.
says. So you can find me on Facebook. There's a group that I have, a very amazing community of coaches and consultants that are experienced, that change people's lives every single day. I'm so proud of them. They're like my family.
That's
I
awesome.
always tell them I love my clients and I love my people to death. Ah, they're my people.
That's awesome. Why do you do what you do?
Because that is my soul mission, to help people create a life aligned with their potential. And these are the skills that are at my disposal to help them do that.
What else?
Because I think this world needs a shift. And I think that in the big ensemble of how things work in the universe, we all have a role. I see like ourselves like little wheels, and like when the mechanism, like in a clock, I see these big clocks like kids' movies, golden clocks. That's how I see us. Everybody is a little wheel. So we need to do our role. Because if I move and if I use my zone of genius, you do your, like you spin on the other side using your zone of genius, we connect with other people and then we connect, and then the entire mechanism goes flawlessly. And this is how we create that change in the world. Who wants to live in a world that doesn't feel easy, doesn't feel aligned? Let's not even talk about the human consciousness and how we're evolving. But on a simple thing, aren't we all looking to have more fulfilling life, more peaceful lives? Why are we doing what we're doing every day? To be happier, to have more time with our families, to get out of debt, right? To have time to visit our families, to have time to make kids, to create a family, right? It's not about the money. It's never about the money. It's about helping people. Because that is where the connection comes from. That is where the satisfaction comes from. That's why we see all those billionaires and celebrities that have a shitload of money, but they're so miserable.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was thinking about Heath Ledger, apparently very successful, and there's actually very controversial about. I'm obsessed, like I always do market research with people that have a lot of money. Apparently, on paper, they have it all, but then they're alone because the satisfaction comes when we're interacting with other people.
Yeah.
And especially if we're seeing, like, oh my God, I've actually helped this person. And not just energetically, we feel good, they feel good, we change lives, everything shifts. And then they go out and they are happier, or that they become a better person and they get to help other people instead. Even by going to the store, smiling at somebody versus like, I'm just going to go to a random stranger, scream at them. What is that reaction that I'm going to trigger in that person if I go and scream at somebody? Versus if I go at them, it's like, you're absolutely gorgeous. I do this in the store. I'm like a freak. I tell people, like, I approach people, I love your dress. I love your glasses. Your hair looks amazing. And people in London look at me like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But then I see that, like, giggling, they feel good.
Yeah.
So maybe that person will meet their mother, will meet their partner. Maybe they'll meet their soulmate because they're smiling and some guy sees them behind the shelves. Oh, look at this girl giggling.
Yeah.
So like even the tiniest of gestures can make such a massive impact. But then when you're doing intentionally, oh, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah. Totally agree with all of that. Definitely. Well, this has been wonderful.
I love it. I could talk to you for hours.
This has been wonderful. I so appreciate you taking some time out of your day to sit down and chat with me. Love to
Thank
have
you.
you on the I'd love to have you on the stage again. For those of you listening live, thank you so much. For those of you that wrote in some comments, thank you so much. We appreciate the interaction. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay before you check out here. If any of you resonated with the guest, Miss Cristina Grey, make sure you click on her Facebook. It should be in the description below. Link up with her, connect, follow, message, whatever you feel pulled to do. I love helping people connect. That's part of what I do. So, any closing thoughts before we wrap up here, lady?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a true, true pleasure and privilege. I hope we get to do this again. Thank you for everybody watching this. Keep watching Sabrina's. I am literally binge watching this like a series, and hope to see you in the future.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day, and it's filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share of struggle to triumph, be sure to reach out to me here or at herversion.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I am so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. As always, do something awesome today.